Welcome, Virgo. It's your Scorpio full moon, 2 week deep dive forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Across the 1st or the 2nd of May, the moon at 11 degrees 20 goes face to face with the sun in the practical earthy Taurus. Full moons create a lot of intensity and emotions can get pushed into the open. But the sign of Scorpio is itself very intense, and therefore this could be one of the most powerful full moons of the year. But each lunation is completely unique. I'm going to share on screen with you this event, but from a purely Virgo perspective. By the end of the video, you'll have a clearer understanding of what's in store in terms of your energy, work, relationships and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive, but please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. On the screen is your event chart. So the moon in Scorpio is in her full, so it's the second most vulnerable part of her journey through the sky. Scorpio can be very deep energies, sometimes energies that have been hidden away. But the third house for you can be quick exchanges, sometimes rather frivolous. There's nothing frivolous about the moon in Scorpio. The sun, on the other hand, for the last 11 days, has been pushing you to widen your approach, be more spontaneous, perhaps think about travel, be independent, perhaps also higher education or retraining. So you're in a period of change, but it's the dialogue, the conversations you have over the next 2 weeks, which could cause the tension, because that desire to widen your approach may not comply with someone else's expectations, a person who's used to things being set and stayed as they are. Because the moon in Scorpio very much to do with continuity, it's a fixed sign. Now, between the 2 points of the sun and the moon is Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, and that's in a square. And it's also in a square with the sun, so a T square. And that's a big clue about how this will play out for you because that sixth house energy, which Pluto's been in full time for 2 years, is really urging you to reform some of your structures. And that may have been part of your thinking or also your conversations in recent weeks. But perhaps also it can be about where you're resistant or someone else is. So if you're wanting to evolve and someone's very much more about sticking, that's where the tension point can occur. But there is the potential to have some very constructive conversations over the next 2 weeks. The North Node, the point of destiny, which is guiding us all to be instinctively in touch with our direction of travel, is forging a very strong link with the sun and the moon. So when it comes to a relationship matter, as long as you can be receptive to what's shared, particularly if someone brings up something that is rather tender, or perhaps you do with them, and they're able to receive it, it can be a time of growth. But if we look at the overall map, Virgo, the most dominant player remains Uranus because it's moved right to the top of your chart. So naturally, it may be around your work or your connection to the world at large that those thoughts of change are really showing up most strongly. But if you're having dialogue at the present time and over the next 2 weeks, remember this is about a conversation and it is with a potential new employer, you could really snare yourself a major breakthrough. Venus in that 10th house, quick-witted in Gemini, but also can see you express your ideas in a charming way. But that link to Pluto, very powerful. So you may, through a conversation, through a meeting, through an interview, you could have a connection with someone that's so powerful that it really seals the deal. Now, what about your ruler? Your ruler Mercury is coming to the end of its journey through Aries, but it is in the eighth house, which is asking you to get beneath the surface, particularly around finances, I feel, but it's in a conjunction with Chiron. If you do have a wound around perhaps your sense of worth, because the eighth house can be about your long-term financial outcomes, Or maybe if you're trying to do something with your own business, this is a great time to think about what that wound might be, but release it. Because remember, the ninth and the third houses, not just the dialogue, not just the conversation, but the ninth house can be the philosophy. The third house can be our quick thoughts around it. And the moon in Scorpio, the revealer, because it may be something that's been hidden. Now, pardon me, the traditional ruler of the sign of Scorpio is Mars. And Mars for you is in the eighth house, an echo of Scorpio. But it is free of the draining energy of Neptune, the restrictive vibe of Saturn, but it is in a square with Jupiter. So if you're thinking about doing something around business that's more daring or different, or perhaps collaborating or in a group situation, don't be overconfident because that Mars Jupiter square can uh, see us thinking that nothing is beyond us, which is a great thing to have, but it needs to be moderated in the right way. If you're in a employment situation that you're enjoying, particularly if it's creative or imaginative, I actually feel this can be a time when Uranus doesn't shake it up negatively. Venus's link to Saturn is perfect. So if you are recognized, respected, you're paid properly, but you're doing something that really helps you to express yourself, it's continue as you are. And remember, full moons will only arouse issues that need to come up. But don't be surprised if you do think about a new mode of transport, perhaps a new website. If you are anyone involved in marketing or promotion, this can be a very positive 2 weeks, but it does require that openness to that sensitive sharing that may come up. I'm going to reprise those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next, Virgo. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscopes. You can order one and get three. So that's three for the price of one. The one you pay for, the life roadmap, helps you to understand the patterns that are played out in your life so far, but get a more intimate understanding of what they are. But then you'll get three, your 12 months transit, but also your draconic analysis, which helps you to understand the karmic part of your journey through this life. That's three for the price of one. Why? Well, I appreciate that some people are feeling the pinch, particularly with energy prices, but also I really want to share the love. I've been into astrology since I was about 14, and it really is life changing. If we use our natal chart, we gain so much more insight to who we are, and that helps us to deal with things that much more skillfully future forwards. If you've yet to watch your May monthly forecast, Virgo, on the screen, yet to watch your Uranus into Gemini 1 year forecast on the screen, if you'd like to work with me directly, it'd be a pleasure. Please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily horoscope, fire to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, please do check it out below too. Now, to summarize, if your professional situation is not giving you much satisfaction at the moment, but someone close to you may be reluctant for you to change it because it shakes the status quo up, I think there could be some intense conversations over the next couple of weeks. If you are enjoying doing something different or creative, I think this can be a time when your communications can be particularly effective. If there is something that's inhibiting you around your love life, that eighth house Mercury Chiron conjunction asks you to think about your desirability and let it go. Remember, with Mars in the eighth house now free of Neptune and Saturn, you do have a chance, particularly in that square to Jupiter, to actually feel a lot more alluring. It could be someone in your friendship circle who really captures your imagination. When it comes to your physical vitality, Saturn does continue in that eighth house. The eighth house can be to do with very deeply rooted issues. If you're releasing things, and Mercury Chiron helps you to do that, and you are bringing more variety into your life, I think that can be very helpful to you. And when it comes to neat finance, Yes, I think Mars in that square with the lucky Jupiter does give you a clue that if you are bold, it can work out. But don't be too bold. You still need to do your legendary analytical research to make sure. It's been a pleasure being with you, Virgo. All the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.